Hi, I'm Malcolm, 38, engine whisperer, professional oil under the nails guy, and apparently the only member of my family who doesn't show up. According to my mother, who once called me at 5 a.m. because the dishwasher made a hissing demon noise. It was just the rinse cycle. The night everything started, we were in the middle of Sunday dinner, the weekly guilt trap where attendance is mandatory unless you're dead or on fire, and even then Mom would say, "Stop being dramatic." Mom had her announcement voice on, the one she used for graduations and guilt trips. Dad stared at his plate like the peas might rise up and unionize. My sister Cara had her 2 boys, both of them glued to iPads like their thumbs were trying to win medals. My daughter, June, tapped the salt shaker like she was sending Morse code only I could hear. Then Mom raised her glass. "When we're gone," she said, eyes pointed at some imaginary horizon, "the house and the savings go to the grandkids who show up." A beat. A smile. "That means Cara's boys." I felt it like a wrench slipping off a bolt, quiet, sharp, embarrassing. Cara gave the world's fakest "Oh, Mom, stop!" laugh. Dad blinked at his peas like they were Switzerland, neutral and staying out of it. June nudged me under the table, small sneaker tapping my boot. She whispered, "Should we stop coming then?" And something in me unclenched. Not anger. Just this exhausted, decades-old knot finally loosening like a bolt that's been rusted in place since '92. I didn't argue. Didn't lift my voice. Didn't remind anyone of the 5 years I'd paid their mortgage, or the Christmas mornings I spent fixing plumbing while Cara's family posted matching pajama photos. I just smiled at my kid. "Eat your green beans," I told her. But inside, something shifted. A quiet click. The sound of an engine part finally lining up. I didn't know it yet, but that was the first moment in a long chain of them, the kind that leads you straight to a lawyer's office months later, staring at a screen that shows exactly one beneficiary. My kid. My invisible, overlooked, allegedly non-showing up kid. And Grandpa, the one person who ever saw me, was about to speak from the grave louder than any of them ever had. I didn't sleep that night. Not angry, not even surprised, just tired. The kind of tired that sits in your bones and makes the ceiling look accusatory. At about midnight, I grabbed the cardboard file box from the top shelf of my closet. The one I'd shoved up there 5 years ago after refinancing my parents' house, the same house Mom now declared belonged to the grandkids who show up, which apparently didn't include the kid who spent last Christmas Eve fixing a sump pump with me while her cousins took ski lift selfies. I set the box on the kitchen table like it was an engine I'd been pretending didn't knock. June wandered in with her blanket around her shoulders. "Can't sleep either?" "No," I said. "Just looking at old stuff." She sat beside me, head on my arm. I nudged the box open. "Here's the thing, when you're a mechanic, you keep evidence. Screws in labeled bins, replacement parts in order, every receipt in a folder even if the paper is so thin it disintegrates when you breathe on it." I didn't think of it as strategy. I thought of it as habit. Inside the box, 5 years of Zelle screenshots. Every bank statement showing those mortgage drafts. Printed emails from the loan officer promising I'd be added to the deed. Texts from Mom that always began with, "Kiddo, can you cover?" The reminder I'd set to get the deed updated. I had all of it. Every nut, bolt, and washer. But that wasn't what made my stomach drop. At the bottom of the box, behind old shop manuals and a beat-up Polaroid of Grandpa Ray holding baby June, I found a faded photocopy. The trust. The one Grandpa made in 2001. The one he made me help scan because I was the only kid in the family who knew how to use a file name system that wasn't final_final_final 2. PDF. I started reading it again, just for the hell of it. And there it was. Section 4. 7. Maintenance and Preservation Contributor Clause. The legal translation? If a descendant spent at least 60 straight months materially preserving the property, aka keeping the damn house from collapsing or being foreclosed, that descendant had the right to choose who inherited the house after my parents' life estate ended. Not my parents. Not the sister who showed up. Not the grandkids who supposedly cared. The person who kept the lights on. I sat back. 5 years. 60 months. Every payment accounted for. Every emergency bill. Every insurance shortage. I didn't need revenge. I didn't even need an apology. But for the first time in decades, I realized I had something my family never saw in me. Power. Not loud, dramatic power. Quiet, mechanical power. The kind that hums. The kind you only hear if you listen. June watched me highlight a paragraph. Is this bad? She asked. No, kid, I said. This is something different. I didn't know then exactly where it was heading. But the night Mom said the house went to the grandkids who show up, something slipped in the engine of my family. And now I finally had the manual. The turning point didn't come with yelling. No slammed doors, no Lifetime movie theatrics. It came on a Saturday morning with a folding table full of store-brand cookies and a family clean-up day. My mom organized like she was running Habitat for Humanity instead of trying to rake leaves. Cara texted the whole thing like she was coordinating a charity gala. Bring gloves. Bring energy. Bring smiles. I brought a cardboard file box that could have powered its own thunderstorm. Dad was in his back brace pretending he didn't see me arrive. Cara's boys dragged a branch each for exactly 5 minutes before vanishing into the house. June and I cleaned the gutters because she thinks climbing ladders makes her taller than her problems. Around noon, Mom clapped her hands. Lunch break. Then we'll talk next steps for maintaining the house. Perfect. I wiped my hands, walked to the picnic table, and placed the cardboard file box right in the center like I was setting down a sacred artifact. Cara frowned. What's that? Show and tell? Receipts, I said. Mom sighed. Malcolm, if this is about Thanksgiving, it's about the house. Dad finally looked up. I pulled out the first stack. Color-coded. Hole punched. Tabbed. 5 years of payments, I said. $329, $874. 12, to be exact. Mortgage drafts, insurance shortages, escrow failures. Every single month. Not one missed. Cara wrinkled her nose. You live there sometimes. That's not. I didn't even look at her. I slid out the county notice I'd found behind the bathroom vanity pipe, the gift deed transferring the house to her. Then there's this. Mom's smile died. That isn't what you think. It's exactly what I think, I said, my voice flat. You promised to add me to the deed. You canceled the notary 3 times. And instead you gifted the house to Cara. Cara folded her arms. Parents are allowed to gift. We talked about it. You're being dramatic. Dad murmured, Cara, in that slow warning tone that had dust on it from decades of disuse. But I wasn't done. I pulled the photocopied trust out, the one Grandpa had made me skin back when he still smelled like sawdust and pipe tobacco. I slid the highlighted page forward. Section 4. 7. Maintenance and Preservation Contributor Clause. Cara blinked like I'd handed her instructions for assembling a nuclear submarine. What does that mean? She snapped. It means, I said, calm as a torque wrench, that for contributing 5 consecutive years to keep this house from foreclosure, I get to choose who inherits it. Not you. Not Mom. Not a Facebook poll. Me. Mom's face tightened. Oh, Malcolm, don't be ridiculous. Your grandfather put that in to sound important. Funny, I said. Because Mr. Alvarez, the lawyer who drafted it, is still alive. And remembers Grandpa's exact words. Dad leaned over the paper like he was reading a secret recipe. I kept going. I've already exercised the appointment. Legally. In writing. Filed. Cara snapped upright. Filed what? With who? I looked at her, then at June, who was clutching my jacket like she was afraid I'd float away. The remainder interest, I said, is appointed to June. Silence. Big, canyon-deep silence. Cara's voice finally scraped out. You gave a child a house? I shook my head. No. Grandpa did. I just followed the clause. Mom's lip trembled. Malcolm, this isn't fair to the boys. Who shows up? I asked. Who actually shows up, Mom? June raised her hand a little, shy. It was me, she whispered. I helped Grandpa. I was there. And that was it. I closed the file box, not a slam, just a decision, and walked my daughter back to our truck. By the time we hit the first stoplight, my phone exploded with calls, texts, threats, guilt trips, relatives emerging from digital caves. 50+ missed calls by nightfall. But something strange happened inside me. The knot I'd carried for years, tight, hot, choking, quietly let go. For the first time in my life, I wasn't the fixer. I wasn't the wallet. I wasn't the background son. I was the one with the wrench. And the whole system had just realized it. By Monday night, my phone looked like it had joined a cult and was trying to convert me. 42 missed calls. 19 voicemails. 3 group chats I don't remember consenting to. The messages came in waves like weather patterns. Mom, you're ruining this family. Cara, you can't do this. Learn the law. Aunt Wendy, your sister has enough stress. Why would you do this to a mother? A cousin I hadn't spoken to in years. Heard you stole the house. Bold move, man. Unknown number, we'll bury you in court. 5 minutes later, sorry, wrong text meant for Cara. Then thumbs up. I didn't reply. Not one word. Instead, I grabbed a Tacoma in the shop that needed an oil change and let the world scream at me through a silenced phone. There's something therapeutic about knowing exactly what to do. Unscrew, drain, clean, replace, torque, breathe. Machines don't lie. They don't guilt-trip you or smile, while they quietly rewrite deeds. June perched on a step stool watching me like she always does. Should I check for double gaskets? She asked. Go for it, I said. She did, perfectly. Kid listens. That night, I put the file box back in the closet and stared at it for a while. All those years. All those receipts. All those promises. It didn't feel like a bomb anymore. It felt like a record. Something that had existed whether anyone acknowledged it or not. Mom tried a new tactic the next day. We can fix this if you apologize. Apologize for what? For not being invisible anymore? I let her message sit unread. 2 weeks of chaos later, the storm began to quiet. Calls dropped from 50 a day to 10. 10 to 1. Then 1 every couple days. It felt like the house after an engine finally stops knocking, strange and too peaceful. Then my email pinged. Mr. Alvarez's assistant. Please confirm attendance for Friday's trust review meeting. All parties invited. There it was. The moment the engine cracks open and every hidden part rolls into the light. Friday came. We sat in a conference room with a speakerphone and a too-long table. Mom and Dad on one side. Cara and her husband on video, perfectly lit like they were streaming a beauty vlog. June next to me, braid neat, feet swinging under her chair. Mr. Alvarez in a cardigan that probably predated half our conflicts. He clicked the remote. The trust appeared on the screen. Section 4. 7. There it was again. The words that changed everything. He read it calmly, like discussing whether. The contributor, Mr. Malcolm Whitaker, has the right to appoint the remainder to his issue. Cara shrieked through the screen. You're giving a child a house? Alvarez didn't flinch. No. A trust. Not subject to gift deed or sibling preference. Mom tried one last angle, her voice cracking like old paint. Why her, Malcolm? Why June? I looked at my kid. At the girl who sorted screws by size with Grandpa Ray. Who unclogged the sump pump with me at 2 a.m. Who never asked for anything except a little bit of time. She showed up, I said. Silence again. Thick. Heavy. The kind that means the whole family engine has stalled and everyone knows it. When the meeting ended, Alvarez handed me a manila envelope with the stamped appointment confirmation. Dad stopped me at the door, fingertips hovering like he wasn't sure if he had permission to touch my sleeve. Ray would have liked this, he said softly. Not the fight. The plan. Yeah, I said. Me too. Outside, winter sun lit June's face like a spotlight. So, am I a landlord? She asked. I barked out a laugh. Not today. Today you're just the kid your great-grandpa trusted. At home, the world felt quieter than it had in years. No more pings. No more demands. No more being the family wallet, or the default handyman, or the son who shows up only to be told he never does. Just me and my kid. And a future that finally felt like ours. The silence lasted 3 whole days. 3. That's a record in my family. Usually they can't go 12 minutes without someone catastrophizing a missing coupon or a slow Wi-Fi connection. On day 4, the next storm hit. Cara's husband called from a number I didn't recognize. No hello, just. We can buy you out. I was elbow deep in a Subaru's timing chain, so I put him on speaker. Buy me out of what? The remainder thing. The house. 50 grand. Cash. I laughed so hard I dropped the 10mm socket. 50 wouldn't cover a quarter of what I paid. I said. And it's not for sale. You're impossible. He snapped. Think of the kids. I am. I said. Just not yours. Click. 5 minutes later, June tapped me on the arm and pointed to her science fair project, a pulley made from a skateboard truck. Can we test it? Absolutely. We rigged soup cans to the shoelace. It worked beautifully. Machines don't lie. Meanwhile, Mom switched from guilt to melodrama. Your sister's boys are crying themselves to sleep. Then, your grandfather would be ashamed. Then, can we talk? Then, you always twist things. Then, you were jealous of Cara as a child. Jealous? Of Cara? I once caught her trying to curl her hair with a hot glue gun. No jealousy here. Dad sent fewer texts. When he did, they were small, tired sentences. I didn't know about the clause. I'm worn out. Then a picture of the underside of the banister, Grandpa's initials carved in. No caption. That one got me. Not enough to reply. But enough to sit down for a minute. One afternoon, I saw Mom's Corolla parked outside the shop. She didn't come in. She just sat there, engine running, staring at the bay door like she was trying to see through time. The next morning, she texted. The porch light is out. Can you fix it? I wrote back. Send a work order to the shop. She did. My mother sent an actual work order like a real customer. We've crossed into another dimension. With every passing day, my phone grew quieter. 50 missed calls dropped to 10. 10 to 3. 3 to none. My nights were quieter too. No constant buzzing. No scrolling rants. No one telling me who I should be or how little I mattered. June and I started a new habit. Every night we wrote something good in a little notebook by the door. Saw a hawk. Truck finally passed emissions. Perfectly toasted bagel. Didn't yell once today. Soup can pulley worked. It was small. Ordinary. And the most peaceful my life had ever been. But peace never stays unchallenged for long. Because peace invites something else, clarity. And clarity always leads to the moment where everything that's been pushed aside comes front and center. 2 weeks after the meeting, an email from Mr. Alvarez landed in my inbox. Subject: Review meeting, full party attendance confirmed. My stomach tightened just enough to notice. The next stage was coming. The review meeting wasn't supposed to feel like a showdown, but the second I walked into that beige conference room, the kind with carpet that smells like hot printer ink, I knew exactly what we were walking into. June was beside me, braid neat, hoodie sleeves pulled over her hands. She looked calm. Calmer than me. Probably calmer than the spider-shaped conference phone in the middle of the table. Mom and Dad sat across from us. Dad looked like he hadn't slept. Mom looked like she'd practiced her expression in the mirror, equal parts wounded, regal, and ready to flog someone with a napkin. Cara and her husband appeared on the TV screen like they were guest stars on a courtroom drama. Perfect lighting, perfect angles, zero self-awareness. Mr. Alvarez shuffled in wearing a cardigan that might have been older than me. He nodded at all of us like we were about to discuss the weather or maybe a will that didn't contain emotional landmines. He clicked the remote. The trust appeared on the screen. Section 4. 7. Maintenance and Preservation Contributor Clause. My heart thudded once, just to remind me it was still involved. Alvarez spoke like he was reading bedtime stories. This clause gives the contributor The individual who made material contributions for 60 months, to appoint the remainder interest. Mom opened her mouth. He held up a finger. The woman shut. He continued. Mr. Whitaker, Malcolm, fulfilled that requirement. He executed his appointment to his issue. His issue? Cara burst out. She's 12. This is insanity. Alvarez did not blink. Legally supported. UT may trust. Standard procedure. The gift deed to you, MS. Emerson, is void against this clause. Cara's husband leaned toward the camera aggressively enough that his forehead momentarily filled the whole screen. So we get nothing? That is correct, Alvarez said, adjusting his glasses with the calm of someone who's seen siblings fight over Tupperware. Mom tried a different angle. Soft voice. Almost tender. Malcolm, sweetie, you don't have to punish us like this. I felt June's fingers hook around mine under the table. I'm not punishing you, I said. I'm following the trust Grandpa wrote. The one you forgot existed. Grandpa didn't mean for you to use it against us. Mom snapped. Grandpa meant exactly what he wrote, I said. Reward the one who keeps the lights on. Dad stared at the paper like he was reading his own autopsy. When he finally spoke, his voice was almost a whisper. Why her? Why June? I turned to my daughter. Her small hand still wrapped in mine. Her eyes bright and scared and proud at the same time. Because she showed up, I said simply. Every time. Without being asked. Without needing applause. She showed up. The room went so quiet we could hear the hum of the ceiling lights. Cara inhaled sharply. Well, maybe someday she'll gift it to her cousins. No, I said. Maybe she won't. Mom's eyes flashed. Malcolm, we're not doing attendance-based love anymore, I said. We'll see you when it feels right. Not when it's required. Cara scoffed loudly, pixelated rage vibrating through the TV. Oh, poetic. Plain, I corrected. Like engines. Alvarez slid a manila envelope toward me. Stamped copies, he said. Everything finalized. I took it. Heavy. Real. Dad reached out like he wanted to touch my arm, then stopped. Ray would have liked this. He murmured. Not the fighting, but the planning. Yeah, I said softly. Me too. Outside, the wind hit us sharp and clean. June tugged my sleeve. So, am I officially in charge of something? I laughed. Not yet. Today you're just a kid whose great-grandpa believed in the right people. And something inside me, some old, rusted part, finally loosened and fell away. After the meeting, life settled into a strange, quiet rhythm, like the engine finally stopped knocking and I wasn't sure if I missed the noise or the chaos just felt foreign. The group chats died. The panic texts faded out. Cara stopped posting vague inspirational quotes about family betrayal, with glamorous lighting. Mom stopped sending paragraph-long guilt missiles at midnight. The silence was unsettling at first. I'd been the family's emergency jack for so long that not being lifted, propped, or leaned on felt wrong. But then normal life crept in. 2 nights a week, June and I cooked something we'd never tried. The kind of recipes that require grocery store scavenger hunts and make you say things like, "Why does parsley look like cilantro's cousin who failed art school?" We took evening walks, 5-minute loops around the block for absolutely no reason. June collected weird rocks. I collected breaths I didn't know I'd been holding for 30 years. I started sleeping. Actually sleeping. Not the half-alert mechanic sleep where you're listening for leaks in the quiet. Then, one afternoon while I was replacing brake pads, my phone buzzed. A voicemail. Mom's voice. Worn. Soft. Quiet in a way she never gets. I don't know where we went wrong, Malcolm. Maybe I didn't see enough. Or maybe I saw the wrong things. Could you fix the porch light? The one by the front steps? Send me the bill. That last sentence, send me the bill, felt like a tectonic shift. I stood there with a brake pad in my hand, listening twice just to make sure she said it. Mom asking for help without entitlement. Mom offering to pay me. Mom sounding human. I didn't call back. But I didn't delete it either. A few days later, Cara's boys wrote June a letter. Actual pen, actual paper, actual messy handwriting. Hey June. We miss hanging out. Mom says we can't talk but we don't care. Want to play video games this weekend? Liam and Parker. June brought it to me like it was contraband. I read it twice. Then handed it back. You want to? I asked. She shrugged in that trying to be casual way kids have when the answer matters more than they want to admit. Maybe, yeah? Her voice was small. Hopeful. Scared. Okay, I said. We can make that happen. But it's going to be on our terms. Not theirs. She nodded. That night, I found myself staring at Grandpa Ray's old brass workbench key on my ring. I ran my thumb over the worn grooves, thinking about the man who taught me machines don't lie, and neither do patterns. I'd been fixing things my whole life, until the thing that broke wasn't a carburetor or a differential, but the idea that showing up wasn't enough unless someone saw it. Now I saw it. June saw it. That was enough. It was quiet in the shop when I closed up that night. The kind of quiet that feels earned, not empty. And then another message rolled in, this time from Cara. Just 5 words. The boys miss June. Can we schedule something? I looked at the screen. Then at June, sprawled on the couch with a book and her feet kicked up like she owned the universe. I didn't answer right away. For the first time ever, I wasn't reacting. I was choosing. Moving on my terms. And it felt steady. Like a truck finally aligned. I didn't answer Cara's text that night. Not out of spite, those days were gone, but because I wanted to decide, not react. For once, I wanted the next move to feel like a choice and not a reflex. So I looked over at June, sprawled across the couch with her hoodie half over her face, feet dangling, a kid fully at peace for the first time in months. Drive? I asked. She grinned instantly. That's our thing, no destination, no reason, just forward motion and a truck that rattles like it's cheering us on. We took the long road by the river, the one Grandpa Ray used to take when he wanted to. Let the engine think. The sky was that late winter gold that makes everything look forgiven. When we got home, I saw the voicemail light blinking. Another one from Mom. Not dramatic. Not angry. Just human. Malcolm, if you want, maybe we could come by the shop sometime? Just to say hi. If not, I understand. A full, real breath left my chest. Not relief. Something quieter. Acceptance, maybe? I didn't call back. But I didn't shut the door either. The next morning, June dragged her birdhouse project onto the kitchen table, her masterpiece of crooked nails and proud mistakes. We should sand it today, she said. We should, I agreed. So we did. We sanded until our hands were dusty, and the grain came through soft and honest. We put on fresh coffee. We fixed nothing dramatic, nothing urgent. Just little things. For us. Later, I finally texted Cara back. We can schedule something. Neutral territory. Just the kids. No speeches. She responded with a simple, okay. No extra punctuation. That might have been the most shocking part of the year. The family group chat stayed quiet. Peaceful. An unused room I wasn't obligated to clean. And for the first time in my life, I wasn't the fixer of everyone's emergencies. I wasn't the son who existed in the background. I wasn't the wallet or the walking wrench or the kid who never got counted. I was just Malcolm. A dad. A mechanic. A man who finally understood the difference between showing up for people and being used by them. Here's what closure really looks like. It's not a slammed door. It's not a victory speech. It's not the family crying or begging or changing overnight. It's a quiet truck cabin. A kid laughing at a river. A house protected by a clause written decades ago by the only man who actually saw me. It's a brass key on my ring. Grandpa's rough handwriting etched into a banister no one thought mattered. A life where the phone goes silent at 9. And a birdhouse drying on the counter, not because someone demanded it, not out of duty, but because we wanted to. That's what we chose. That's what we kept. And that's what'll last.